Hello and welcome back for another Just the Tip episode of the TSM podcast. It's coming up to the festive season and we thought, well, it's not coming up to the festive season, we're right in the middle of the bloody season. And today we thought we would, share some awkward gig stories and just have a little bit of a laugh. And as we started talking, it transpired that my awkward gig stories is just, I don't want to say incomparable or just completely, they're very, very different to Ashley's. So we're going to let Ashley take this one today, actually. He's going to share a story that I found particularly amusing and thought you guys would all want to actually hear about. So, Mr. Ashley Green, tell us about that time that you may or may not have nearly got punched in the face.
Yes, I nearly got my face caved in midway through a show. Shall we talk about that one today, Aidan?
Sounds like a fun one. It sounds like a fun one. Honestly, it had me in stitches the first time you told me. Yeah, just amusing. But there is a moral to this story, and we'll come back to it at the end. But tell us what happened.
Well, I think this is a standout today. I mean, I've got many a stories from families bursting out crying mid-show, like a whole family of 5 people mid-show that was like just full-on tears, not emotional tears because of the material, mentalism. No, they were literally sad crying mid-show. I've got things of me breaking things from the audience, watches, phones, blah, 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 all of that. But this one really stands out. And picture this, it was a beautiful wedding. Wonderful wedding. The clients were so excited for it. They were loving what I was doing. You know, the married couple, they were going great. The audiences were loving it. It was midway through doing an hour show. It was a big show for the wedding, straight after the wedding breakfast, just before the disco. Show was going great. And then I get right up to the moment that I start revealing some personal information. And I start revealing a part of a password, and a guy stands up. Audiences were loving it, by the way. Audiences were loving it. And a guy stands up mid-show and he goes, "Oi, me, you, outside, now." And I'm like, "Do I? What?" He's like, "Outside, now, I'm having a word with you." Bearing in mind, this guy has taken the moment to stand up mid-show, and the room went silent as this guy was just challenging me and saying, "Outside, we're having a word now." And I'm like, "Can it wait till after?" And he's like, "We're going now." And I'm like, "Oh dear, this is not good." So naturally one does what any normal person would do, aggravate the man by playing it back and forth with the audience, like, "Shall we go? Shall we potentially get my face punched in? What are we going to do, audience? Let's have a vote." You know, everyone's kind of like awkwardly laughing because they're like, "That's funny," but at the same time, there is a psychopath wanting to kill you. So we do the vote and the audience goes, "Yeah, go on then, see what he has to say." So we walk out and he's like aggressively coming over, like basically dragging me out. And I make sure to stand where I'm in view of the audience in case it gets real and I get my head caved in. At least people can see it happening. And that'll be the big finale. And the guy whispers in my ear and he goes, "I know what you was going to say. You was going to say, I think the name was Vicky. You was going to say Vicky, weren't you?" And I was like, yeah. You know that. Yeah. And he's like, "Yeah. Now, the problem is you can't say Vicky because that's the other woman that I'm seeing and I ain't with Vicky today. So we can't be saying that, can we, mate?" And I've gone, "Oh, you naughty man, this is not good." And we walked back in, the most awkward walk back in, deathly silence as me and this man. He sat down, I walked back on stage, and the first thing that came out of my mouth was, "Stand up, so in front of everyone, I think we can assume I was right, yes, sit back down, right, let's carry on, everyone." And, yeah, and then I finished the show miraculously. We carried on. It was a fantastic show. And I managed to survive, Aidan, getting my head caved in by a man who was off his nut and cheating on his wife.
It's just so many
which I nearly outed in front of everyone there.
Literally given 5-10 minutes and things could have gone so much worse. That story just had me in stitches the first time. Just because it's
and before that, before that, in the show, I forgot to add on that I also outed another man to his wife for having a severe gambling addiction, and I think they may be divorced now. Same show.
That has taken a turn, and moral of that story is be careful what you peak.
Be careful what you reveal.
Yeah.
And also, the most innocent things which you think revealing, even if someone has written it on your impression pad or anything like that, may still be awkward. And you've just got to be able to adapt. But no, I think this comes from the serious thing. Unexpected moments can just occur for whatever reason in your shows, you know. You could reveal the most innocent piece of information, even if someone does write it down on an impression pad, on a peak device or whatever. And if, in this case, the poo-poo hits the fan and you have a psychopath threaten you, you've just got to be able to adapt with it, because so many people would just crumble there, and that could have a knock-on effect. And, like, imagine that. Like, this guy ruins the show for everyone. Bride and groom are like, oh my gosh, one of our friends literally ruined that show. That's horrendous. And you've always got to think, like, what can you do to make this still fun for everyone? Like, you don't want to leave on the fact of, okay, that's the end of the show. Like, it just got a bit weird and, oh, great. You know, everyone's going to be in a downer. You've got to find ways of just, like, bring it back through, dealing with the situations with, like, that level head, and then kind of finishing off and make sure everyone, and I'm saying everyone, is okay in their individual ways. And at the end, they're all having fun and all enjoying it, no matter if anyone was outed for certain things.
That's brilliant. And if anybody, like we all get these great stories, and one of the things that would be absolutely hilarious is to come and share them. Head over to the TSM community and to come and whack a post. Tell us about your awkward gig story. Maybe start it with #awkward, and then we'll all know what we're getting in for. Could be quite fun over the festive break to read a bunch of awkward gig stories. Or if you're listening to this into the new year or in 2 years' time, by all means, still come over to the TSM community and pop #awkward in there. And just come and share your stories, and more importantly, what did you learn from them? Because there's always a lesson to be learned, as proven by today's story, in which Ashley nearly got his head caved in.
There we are, but I'm still alive.
So ridiculous! It's so ridiculous. But yeah, on that note, you probably won't hear from us before the festive thing actually happens. You know, Christmas. So. Happy Christmas, and we'll see you in the new
Merry New Year.
And what?
And a Merry New Year.
I messed it up, didn't I? It's supposed to... Oh, God, it's all gone bad. See you soon, everybody.
We'll see you soon, guys.